Hi, my lovelies, Woo here, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the digestive system and kind of what you can do to kind of open it up, and also what you can do to kind of think about what is actually causing the disruption in your digestive system, or why you're craving the things that you want to eat that are actually, again, disrupting your digestive system and causing other issues. Um, Today again, let's talk a little bit about fascia first. Fascia is the stuff that covers your entire body, and it's the stuff that is all your connective tissue. It covers your organs, it covers your muscles, it covers your bones. And when it does this, it all talks to each other. It has to glide. Sometimes it can get a little sticky, especially like when it's been kind of ripped apart for a little bit. When you build muscle, it kind of rips that fascia sometimes, and all those little micro tears become a little sticky and kind of almost like Velcro with the fascia, but it can be kind of smoothed back out and glide better, and that's kind of what we're looking for. And with all this intuitive movement, that's kind of one of the basic reasons of what we're doing is to get that fascia from kind of being unlocked to kind of being a little bit more smooth and move more freely so that you can move more freely and feel better. Because when things can move throughout your body, because we're made of mostly water, when the fascia gets stuck, it gets a little hard to move that water around. It's a little harder to move all the nutrients and whatnot around. So having the ability for things to move in between the fascia and things to move throughout your body is really important. So on that note, let's talk a little bit about digestion. So kind of one of the main things that if you're having trouble digesting something, one of the things that you might want to think about on an emotional level is what can you not digest? Like what is something that you just can't stomach? Basically, like when you're having like a upset stomach about something, there's generally some emotion that you just can't handle. It's some sort of situation like you just can't stomach it. Like that is just so like terrible, so disgusting, so um, you know, it's so beyond you that you just can't handle digesting it. And so if you kind of think about that when you're thinking about your digestive system of like what you can handle, what you can't, what is digestible, what is not, and kind of have that question in mind as you're moving around. And we've talked a little bit about the stomach before, the stomach, pancreas and spleen, and how they're connected to things that you consume, like your pancreas, for instance, is connected to like the sugar that you intake. Um, so, and it's also has to do with like your solar plex chakra that's right here, and how that is your self-esteem. So it's the things that kind of also relate to that. So things that are making you feel bad about yourself, things that you're just not happy with, that is really affecting your self-esteem, those kind of things. Like what kind of those things can't you digest, or something that you might want to start with and start thinking about as you're doing your intuitive movement. So like if I'm thinking about, I'm feeling into my body and I'm like, what can I just not digest right now? What can I not handle? What's like hurting my self-esteem? And, with everything that's kind of going on now with being quarantined and trying to come out of quarantine, and if you're like me, kind of in like the hands-on business, it's a little bit of like, how do you rebuild your clientele? How do you make people feel safe and things like that? But it's also kind of about like, you can't immediately just go right back to work. And for me, that is kind of hurting my self-esteem because I want to be productive and I want to do things, and I want to be successful. And I think that's a lot of what it comes down to, is that I just want to be successful, and what I can't digest is not being successful. And so when I think about that and I'm kind of moving around trying to figure out where in my body I feel this the most, I'm definitely feeling like my right side kind of seemed to be more engaged than the other side. Kind of what I mean about engaged in this moment is like I'm just noticing that like this side feels more restless than this side. Like I feel a little bit calmer on my left side, and my right side feels a little bit more intense. So I'm going to kind of feel into that and see where we start. I am kind of just noticing that like immediately I want to go over to this side and kind of and it seems to be a little bit again related to my SI joint, which holds self-esteem types things. It's the ability to be myself. So maybe with my business and I'm trying to go back into being hands-on again, it's trying to figure out what am I trying to do and how am I trying to be myself with this. I am noticing that I'm getting a lot of firing in like all of my posterior muscles, all these muscles back here in the back, like my glutes and things like that. My hamstrings seem to be really engaged right now in particular, and it's really locking out my knee. So that's kind of an interesting thing to think about too. So if I move on from I'm locking out my knee, so I am having trouble possibly being humble, possibly being like, I just don't want to bend my knee, and how that is affecting my self-esteem and how that is affecting what I can't digest and what I want to like do self-esteem and how I can succeed. So maybe for me right now, there's something in like just not being able to kind of, again, bend the knee or be humble or now my knee's like, okay, we're ready to bend. So something kind of let go in my hamstring. I am noticing that my calf is really tight. Calf has to do a little bit with more of your whole lower body is foundational security type issues, but calf, the slope, the more you get to the ground, the more it is about like a long-rooted foundational issue. So it could go back generations, that kind of thing. So what I can't digest and how this is affecting my calf in particular. Calf is one of those muscles that propel you forward. So the fact that, again, my knee is locked out again, and I'm just noticing that. I'm noticing how it's also kind of putting pressure, especially on like the very center of my arch. And so I'm just kind of allowing my leg to kind of feel through that, knee bending again, stretching that calf again, and just noticing how it's activating my midfoot, that arch, and now my hip is kind of getting involved a little bit more again. And it feels like I'm trying to support myself. So all of this is related, like being successful, trying to support myself, trying to do all of this, and also being able to digest that, things aren't going to start up right away. And I think that's kind of something hard for me to swallow. So again, all this is related because it's all kind of in that same facet of digestion, trying to stomach something, swallow something, keep it down, that kind of thing. And as I'm doing this, I'm noticing like the weight needs to shift. Like I need to like move my body in different ways as I'm talking through this. And that's why it's important to kind of, as you're going through the different things of what you're trying to fix, or not necessarily fix, but to let go of and release so that you feel better, just noticing how your body, as you're talking, how it changes, or what you're thinking. You don't necessarily have to say things out loud, you can just kind of think about it as you're going through it. And I'm noticing that I really want to open up this leg a little bit more. So I'm going to just kind of allow it to do that, and just notice that maybe that kind of being in this direction it's kind of like a change of direction. So maybe what my body's trying to tell me is that what I was doing before to be successful in a hands-on business isn't exactly what I need now. Maybe I need more of a change of direction, because my hips are facing this way and my leg is facing this way. So that to me is a sign that I'm trying to change directions in some way, or possibly that I'm trying to run away. So just kind of feeling through that. Gonna kind of go back to baseline, see what changed. Again, thinking about things I can't stomach, things I can't digest, my solar plex, my self-esteem, and anything that might have changed. Now I'm noticing that my right side doesn't feel as active as I'm thinking about these things. I feel a lot more even side to side. My quad feels more active. It feels like it's the one that needs a little bit more work now. Your quad is one of your hip flexors. It's one of those ones that kind of help drive you forward. So if you kind of think about what the muscle does that you're trying to activate, or is activating, or is being stretched. And I'm noticing, again, my leg just locked out, my knee again. So something that I'm trying to move forward with is also affecting my ability to be humble, or to not walk with like bending your knee and having flexibility is important. It doesn't always have to do with humility. Sometimes it's kind of just being more flexible, and as I'm talking through all this, it's all making a lot of sense. That maybe I just need to be more flexible in the things that I am doing. Trying to maybe go from, again, I was very hands-on before. Maybe I need to structure to be a little bit more on the kind of the interactions that I've been doing lately, more like this, where I'm doing videos and doing one-on-one phone calls and things like that, where we're able to kind of go through things like this. And so I just had like this really nice release in the back of my leg and in my calf. So that feels really good right now. Gonna kind of see what happened, if anything kind of changed, and see if my right and left side, anything changed. It feels, again, a lot, feels pretty even now. My upper body now feels like it needs something. It's like something, like it needs something through here to open up. You also have like a grief meridian that kind of runs through here, one of your lung meridians. So sadness and grief could be in there. You also have a gallbladder channel that runs through there, which is resentment. And just kind of noticing how maybe I'm a little bit resentful that I now have to change my business from being more hands-on to being a little bit more having both structures going, of doing more of the online stuff, those phone calls and things like that, the one-on-ones that way, or doing the group meditations, and also incorporating back in my my hands-on things as things are safe and things allow that way. I'm feeling pretty good about it. I'm feeling actually, kind of as I was talking through this, it does make me feel a lot better about like what my goals are and what I'm trying to do, and just noticing how my body was able to tell me this and give me those answers. It's things that I've been thinking about for a while, but now as I'm doing this and talking, and I've even had conversations with friends about this and whatnot, about like how I want to change things and move things around a little bit, but now like seeing it like move through my body and see some things open up, I feel different. I feel a little bit more energized about it, and it feels more right to me, and that's the intuitive part. So being able to notice what's going on, and then that intuitive, like, yeah, this is it. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And so I hope this is helpful, and check out more videos, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Again, check me out on Somato Enlightenment on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram.